Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live. Happy Sunday. There is so much to talk about in today's live. We're just going to get started. We're not going to wait for people to join. You can just join in whenever you see the live pop up. But there's a lot to get through. I have all my notes here. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the posts that I had made since last November and kind of update you and elaborate on some of those posts. But first of all, how are you liking this post Lionsgate portal energy? I think the energy is still very new. I think that the energy is still settling. And I say this because I didn't do anything for the Lionsgate portal, but what did happen was, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I was a witness to an accident. It was an accident, but I saw an older man, a senior citizen, get hit by a car. And it was a very busy intersection that this happened at. And this is where your psychic abilities can come into play, right? So I was the second car behind the car that hit this elderly gentleman. He was on his bicycle and he was trying to cross the intersection. And before the accident had actually happened, my psychic abilities kicked in and I heard she's going to hit him. Little did I know that the driver was actually a female. And, when I had heard that message, I immediately looked up to see who had the right of way. And it was actually the pedestrian or the man on the bicycle who had the right of way. And that's where your psychic abilities can come in, and people say, well, couldn't you use your psychic abilities to prevent the accident? It literally happens so fast. It happens in like a split second. So as soon as I heard the message, I was just about to put my hand on the horn to let the vehicle in front of me know hey, there's this man crossing or riding his bicycle. But as soon as my hand was on the horn, I looked up and she had already hit him. So I mean, and a lot of it's I could have, but again, it's against, everybody has their free will, right? So things happen on their own timing. It could be people's karma. It could be cause and effect. There's a lot of things at play. So even though, I got the message and maybe that was the part that I was supposed to play, right? Where I saw who had the right of way, right? I saw the pedestrian sign. So, and I have to give a witness statement. So maybe that's the role I was supposed to play, right? Maybe I wasn't supposed to intervene and save people's lives. So again, when you have psychic abilities or spiritual gifts, it doesn't really always look like the way that you think it's going to look like. So keep that in mind. So that's why I say with this energy, a lot of people are I'm going to manifest. And I talked about it on the last live. People are I'm going to manifest. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You don't really do that if you don't know what you're working with, because the energy was so chaotic. And even at the time of this accident, hi to everybody's joined, even at the time of this accident, it was really intense. I remember as soon as I approached the intersection, everything, and I've said this before, when you have psychic gifts and abilities, you see everything in HD. So it was kind of everything was zoomed out, and I was looking at the intersection and I remember thinking to myself, this is not right. The intersection really felt off. There was too many things at play, and you're able to hone in on certain things. For example, it was a recipe for disaster. And examples were that there were so many cars in this lineup for us to go to the right, or the people who were waiting for the red light to turn were getting so fed up they started doing U-turns. I just started honing in all of these things, and this is what I'm talking about where I say it's happening in HD. It's you're automatically just focused on different aspects, or it's really difficult to explain unless you experience it, but your abilities are focused where you can, you have a lot of situational awareness and you're able to see things more clearly than other people. So could I have said yes, that this man was definitely going to get hit in this situation? Probably, right? So again, that's why I said, don't really do anything for this Lionsgate portal, because the energy is still so new and it hasn't settled yet and it's too chaotic, right? So especially with planetary shifts like that, planetary shifts or environmental shifts that happen, they change the Earth's atmosphere and they change the energy of the earth, which therefore affects us. Haven't you heard that quote where it's like, we're 90, I don't know how much percentage made up of water we're at. So then the moon changes, it affects us because it affects the oceans. The quote's like something like that. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's the same concept, right? So if something's happening on earth, it's definitely going to 100% affect us. And you'll see, like, sometimes I make posts or stories when it's a full moon or a new moon, and I'll post full moon collective energy reading or post full moon collective energy advice. And I don't do it like on the same day. I do it like a couple days after the actual moons because I've let the energy settle. So it's the exact same things here in this case. When you have, like, again, portals or anything like that, you really have to let the energy settle because initially it's too chaotic and it's affecting people differently. So yeah, you've got to let it settle and you've got to let it play out, and then you can start using the energy. You can't just like use it the first day. So I like literally sat my ass at home and did like nothing. And you should have been doing the same. So let me know if you have any questions below. So I just want to start off by saying that, okay? So let's get into some of these posts that I made. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comment box below. So the first post that I had made where we had left off, if you go back into my Instagram feed, you can see which post I am talking about and you could read the captions there. And then you can correlate them to what I'm saying here. So it was where I was saying many spiritual healers are sophisticated merchants in disguise. Yes, this is 100% true, okay? Many spiritual healers are just selling you something, right? They're very skilled sales women or salesmen, right? You need to do your due diligence. And I talked about this on the last live. So what does doing your due diligence look like? You need to look at their lifestyle, right? So, and again, I'm fully aware that Instagram and social media is a highlight reel, right? People post the best things about their lives, right? And they're showcasing the best things and not the worst things. But you need to look at their lifestyle. And yes, they're posting the highlight reel, but from the highlight reel, you can get a glimpse into what their lifestyle is like, right? And how their life kind of looks like without you being directly in it. So again, you want to look at their lifestyle and see if it correlates to what they're saying, right? For an example, if they're saying that, let's say they're a money coach, right? And then you go to their stories and you go through their feed and they are, I don't know, maybe they are living in a trailer, okay? They could very well like that, okay? Like, I'm not saying like they have to live in a big mansion, but you can tell by their lifestyle. You get the point I'm saying, right? You can tell by their lifestyle. If they're promoting that they're a money coach, but then you look at their lifestyle and their background, the things that they're doing, and they're very low vibrational or very low income things, then that's an indication to you that, they're just a salesperson, right? They're selling you something that could or could not be true. Again, you can look at their content. Their content will tell you if they are just selling you something or if they're actual spiritual healer, right? Go through their content, read their captions, listen to what they're saying, and really like engage with the content. Like try to figure out. So for an example, like this Lionsgate portal, right? Every spiritual person on the internet was talking about it, right? They're all saying the same thing. So this is why I'm saying with engaging their content, look at their content, right? If they're all saying the same thing, then they're usually, not I don't want to say they're not a legitimate spiritual healer. They could be still a legitimate healer, but that tells you something, right? They're all saying the same thing. So they're kind of going with the crowd. They're kind of just, doing what's mainstream. You want to look at their content and see, I never said anything about that, right? I didn't post anything about Lionsgate portal. I didn't talk about it. I wasn't saying, do your manifestations, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, if you have a whole bunch of spiritual teachers who are telling you that and they're all doing the same thing, that doesn't mean they're necessarily correct, right? So you really need to do your homework and really engage and look at their content and see what they're actually talking about and what they're promoting, and is it really in alignment with their actual lifestyle and in alignment with your actual lifestyle. And I think another tip that you can use when I'm saying to do your due diligence in terms of seeing if these spiritual healers are really just salespeople or if they're there for, the general good, is to try to engage with them. I talk to a lot of you guys in the DMs, if you're not crazy and like messaging me something like absurd, but I talk to a lot of people in the DMs, and if you try to message them, like don't message them asking for something free, okay? Like you can just say, hey, like I love your content. Thanks for posting it, right? Like a normal person would be like, thank you very much, right? Like I respond and I say that, right? So try engaging with them. If they never engage with you, if they never even respond to you, if they have their team, and I mean, yeah, okay, they have their team, right? But then again, that's an indication to you, like you're buying from them because you're buying their energy and their presence and their teachings, right? So if they're having their team respond to you, it's like, it's a disappointment, right? So again, look and see if you're able to engage with them. I'm not saying that they're obligated to respond to you. Like, again, everything is in appropriate time and place. But even if they just heart your message, right? That's a great sign. So again, try to engage with them. If they don't even respond to you and just ignore you, then that's an indication that they don't really care and they're just trying to probably make money off of you. So again, a lot of them are sophisticated merchants in disguise. They're really excellent salespeople. They know how to use marketing tactics. They know how to, have their content skyrocket. Oh, and again, when I talked about looking at their content, like look to see how they're making their content. A lot of these, these people and healers and online, yes, it's a business, but a lot of them are engaging in different tactics to kind of promote their business, right? For example, they're using trending sounds and audio, right, to promote their reels or their post or whatever. And that's fine, right? And they're doing that to get a higher follower count or higher engagement, right? But that's a little girl shit. Like, let's be real here. Only little girls only care about their follower count and their engagement, and grown women shit, they care about creating a legacy, creating a community, caring about, building trust and having that support and engage throughout a lifetime. That's what grown women do, right? They're not caring about their follower counts. That's what I've said to you a million times. If you can't handle the lives, get off the live. If you don't like the content, unfollow, right? So that's what I'm saying. Really look at their content and their marketing, and you will know from their content and their marketing. I just realized it got really bright in here. You'll know from, let me see if I can fix it. You will know from their content how, okay, I can't fix it. Yeah, you will know from their content how they are operating, okay? So again, those are some tips and tricks that I use, and it helps to navigate me very well in determining if they're just salespeople or if they're genuine spiritual healers or spiritual mentors or coaches. Okay, the next thing I posted about it was my birthday, and I was talking about how the universe knows your truest desires. So for my birthday in March of 2024, I went to New York and I went to the Orchids After Dark exhibit. And it was so funny how this actually played out, because I had seen this exhibit being promoted weeks prior to our trip to New York, and I was like, I want to go to it, but the people that I was going with, they couldn't get the time off or whatever, so we were going to miss the orchid exhibit. And that was literally the only thing I wanted to do for my birthday, was just go to this exhibit, okay? Like, I don't know why, I love orchids. Like, even in the room that I'm in right now, I have like 6 orchids. I just bought the Lego orchid set. Like, I love orchids. They're my favorite plants. I think they're so beautiful. And like, Orchids After Dark, sign me up, right? So this is the only thing I wanted to do. And again, we were going to miss the time. It wasn't going to happen. And like, there was no way this was going to happen. Like, the promotional page, it was at the Botanical Gardens in New York. The page had said, right, it's literally ending on this day. Like, this is the last weekend for you to go. And we were going to miss it. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just get over it. And then I remember, like, the week prior to us leaving to go to New York, I had checked the promotional page, okay? Something had told me, just check the promotional page. And I checked the page. And guess what it said? It said, the exhibit is open for one more weekend only because everybody loved it so much. And it was literally open the weekend that we were going, the last weekend. Like all the signage, everything for that event had ended the weekend prior. But they've now extended it for another weekend, so we were able to go. And that's why I said, like, the universe knows your truest desires. The universe knew somehow that this was what I wanted to do for my birthday, and this is what I wanted to attend. And it literally looked, this is why they say, or people always say, this 3D circumstances don't matter. Your current reality does not matter, because it looked in reality that I wasn't going to be able to go, because it literally said the exhibit's done. But then magically, by the magic of the universe, it happened for another weekend and we were able to attend. So again, do not pay attention to 3D circumstances. Things can change, and we were able to go. And the universe knew that I wanted to go for my birthday, and it made it happen. Great. Do you have any questions? Okay. Hold on. I'm just trying to see if I can fix this. I cannot. Okay, the next thing I had posted about was harnessing energy to create. And I was talking about how my life was now filled with dance, art, creation, play, and creativity. And again, you can see that to be true by looking through my content, right? Go through the stories, look through the post. All of these things are true. And that's what I've been doing like this whole time, right? I use the energy to create. So, and that could look different. Like I do a lot of card making, a lot of crafts. I have like multiple businesses. Like you just use the energy to create. Stop using energy for things that are not in alignment with you. For example, like arguments or, disagreements, or I don't know, just things that are like negative. Use energy for good things. Use it. Like, what else are you going to use it for? You can either use it for good or you can use it for bad, right? So you can either, and what's good? Creation, right? You use energy to create things. You're not going to use it to like do what? I don't know. You don't use it for bad. So use it to create, right? That's the general sense of this. So all of these things is what I've been doing, and I'm harnessing energy, right? So, and I know a lot of people get confused, like, what do you mean by harnessing energy? You're tapping into the energy. You're like, how can I describe it? Think about like a roller coaster, okay? And you're on this roller coaster, and then it's like this energy is this roller coaster, and then you tap in at the highest point. That's what you're essentially doing when I'm saying harnessing energy. You tap into that roller coaster at that high peak, and then you use that highness, right, to your advantage. You use it to create. Yes, the energy will again drop. That's why I say energy is unstable. It changes all the time. But you can still harness it. You can still ride that wave of energy, and you can still use it to your own benefit. And the best thing to do is to create. Even if you're creating like look what I did on the weekend with the Lionsgate portal. I just have them in front of me so I can show you. But I created like all these cards, right? Like it doesn't need to be something where you're creating, I don't know, like a whole new, I don't know, like, look at this one. This one's cute. You don't need to create a whole new lifestyle or business or something like that. Create something small, because like what this does is it just keeps you in the right mind frame. It keeps you in the right, it keeps you essentially in the right energy, right? It keeps you on that wave for a couple of weeks. So you're good to go, right? Okay. The next thing was I was talking about a genuine spiritual ascension can be misdiagnosed as failing mental health by a spiritually untrained eye. This is 100% true. So, and you see this a lot with mental health professionals where they think everything is a mental health issue. Everything is not a mental health issue, okay? A lot of people, the majority of the population, and there is actually a lack of trained professionals in spirituality, okay? So a lot of people in the population are spiritually untrained. They do not have a spiritually trained eye. And a lot of mental health professionals also do not, right? They're mostly educated by our education system on mental health. And they're not education on spirituality or spiritual issues. So again, there's a divide there, right? So they're obviously going to lean. If you go to a mental health professional, and this is not medical advice, okay? If you go to a mental health professional, they are probably going to diagnose you with some mental health issue because they don't have a spiritually trained eye. And this isn't what happened to me, but I can kind of relate to this because a lot of you know my story. I became spiritually awakened like the first day I left the country and moved to another country and started attending law school. But thankfully, I was already into the spiritual field that I was able to spot. Like, imagine you're like just a normal person, then all of a sudden you start like seeing shit. Okay? Like, I'm talking like otherworldly beings. You start hearing shit. You start getting all of these abilities. Now take all of that, okay? And go to a mental health professional. They're going to be like, you have schizophrenia or like you're bipolar, right? But luckily I didn't do that. I already had friends in the spiritual community. I already knew enough. I already knew that at that point when this was happening to me, I didn't think that I was gifted. I just thought like, okay, I might be a little bit more in tune than other people. But again, I had people in the community that I could go to and I said, hey, this is happening to me. This is happening to me. What do you think this looks like? And they literally clocked it. They were like, you've gone through an awakening. This is the next step. And this is how I can confirm that I wasn't like going crazy. Okay. Like I thought I was going crazy. I think everybody thought I was going crazy, but these people did not think I was going crazy. Okay. They were literally like, this is the next step. This is the next thing that's going to happen to you. And then after that, this is going to happen to you. They laid it out. They laid out the game plan. Okay. And they were 100% right. Everything that my friend, I think I told you guys before, it was my friend who I had consulted, and then a few other people after that. You will find the right people. You'll be led to the right people. I just want to add that. So again, they clocked it. They were absolutely right. Everything that they said was going to happen happened. And yeah, if I had gone to a mental health professional, who knows what that would have looked like at this point. Like, I don't even know. I'm actually like scared to think about it. Okay. But again, a lot of mental illnesses are misdiagnosed. A lot of spiritual ascension is misdiagnosed as failing mental health because there is a very thin divide between those two, spiritual ascension and mental health. It's a very thin line that we're walking here. Okay. So you've got to be able to speak to people who know about these things and who are trained in these things, right? And I didn't only go to people who had experience. And this is why I say like a lot of like mental health professionals or, a lot of them are book smart, right? They've studied the material, but like, have they gone through mental illness themselves? Have they recovered? Have they been on the other side of it? A lot of these spiritually trained people that I was going to, not only did they have the education to back it, they also went through it, right? They came out the other side and you could physically see this in their life. So it wasn't like I was just going to people who went to like, I don't know, spiritual school, okay? Like these are people who had lived experiences, and that's how I learned to do the same thing. So, yes, I've lived through all of these spiritual experiences, but I also have the education background in it. I did take a course at Harvard and where we learned about divination, and I'm certified. So again, you want to see people who have the complete skill set in order to diagnose you or to tell you what's wrong with you. Okay. So again, this is not medical advice. This is not mental health advice. This is just my personal opinion, and this is what worked for me. Okay. Let's take a sip of water. Okay. The next post is, this is a lot. This is a lot to get through. What time is it? 2:30. Okay. I made a post saying that alignment is not linear. Alignment is non-linear. Perfect. Okay, this is true. And like, you automatically, when you hear the word alignment, you're going to think it's a linear because kind of implies that. And generally when you say alignment, people think linear, right? But alignment is non-linear. Like spiritual alignment is non-linear. It's literally all over the place, okay? So when you're born with perfect alignment with divine will. But then as you go through life, right? Let's say you're born into this family and they're toxic and they're abusive, right? For example, this affects you, and this affects your ideologies, your belief systems, your the way you live, the way you interact. It affects your entire life. So as you go through life, these different experiences shape and mold who you become as an individual. Usually what happens, the majority of the population becomes out of alignment with divine will. Follow me here. You're born into perfect alignment with divine will because you're born a baby and you're perfect and you are still pure and innocent. As you go through life, you become corrupted, okay? Let's just call it that for lack of a better word. And then you are out of alignment with divine will. So this whole spiritual ascension and this whole awakening is to get you back into alignment with divine will. But it does not happen in a linear sense. It happens non-linear all over the place. Once you are in this process of getting into realignment, you need to make choices that are balanced and with divine will to get you back into realignment. Are you guys following me? Okay. The more imbalanced choices you make, the more it goes against divine will. And the more you go against divine will, this results in an imbalanced life for you, which means your life is fucked and it's shit. Okay, that's usually what it means because you've made unbalanced choices. For example, let's say you are a criminal and you are running. Okay, let's just say you're a criminal. Okay, this is a good example. Okay, let's not talk about what the crimes are. Let's just say you're a criminal. And this is an unbalanced life, right? This goes against divine will. I don't think God in the universe is saying, hey, go out and kill people, bang, bang, shoot them up. Like, they're not saying that, okay? So you've now gone against divine will. As a criminal, I don't know if you guys know anything about the criminal justice system, but that's not a great life to have, okay? Your whole life is going to be hell. Like, you're going to be in and out of prison. I don't know. You're going to be in the court system. You're frowned upon upon society. Like, you're labeled as a criminal. You're stereotyped. You're stigmatized. Whatever. That's a very unbalanced life, right? So it's the same thing. Like, you have women, and this is another example I've seen recently, like women who are like dating these men, okay? And the men have children and wives. And this is a real life example. I was telling this woman, I'm like, is he legally divorced? And she's like, no. And I'm like, then you are literally fucking with a married man, right? And she's like, yeah, I guess, but they're separated. And I'm like, are they legally separated? No. That's an imbalanced life choice, right? This will lead you to an imbalanced life. So again, it's not in as extreme example as my criminal example. It could be, look for things in your everyday life. Are they balanced choices? Or are they imbalanced choices? Again, if you keep making imbalanced choices, it will lead you to an imbalanced life, which is out of alignment with divine will. That's how it works. Okay. The next post, oh my gosh, we have so much more to go through. Let's keep going. The next post was about Earth Day, and I was talking about how I used to be a city girl. Now I'm like a little nature girl. This is true. Before my spiritual awakening, I was like, I love the city. I love dressing up. I love being in the city, blah, blah, blah. I can't wait to move to New York. I'm going to live in Manhattan. I'm going to be a lawyer in Manhattan. Oh my God. That was my life, okay? And then as soon as you have your spiritual awakening, you're going to be like, fuck, I hate people. Like, I don't want to be anywhere around them. I do not want to be like, it's just a complete opposite change. Like you're just going to be like, want to be alone. You're going to want to be around animals, natures. And that's pretty much the way that my life had changed. I went from a city girl to like, I don't even like people. And like, I want to be in nature and around like little animals. Like that's it. If you could like put me in a house in the middle of like nowhere, I'm happy with that. So like usually that's what tends to happen, right? Like even if I go into the city now, or if I go where there's a lot of people, like I need days to recover. Like I'm not fine the next day. Like I need to like self-isolate. It's just too much. It's too much energy. It's too much stimulation. I don't know. I can't deal with it. And probably neither will you. So again, you will usually go from being a people's person to not so much and like a nature lover or extremist. And it's kind of cool and it's kind of fun because I've talked about this so many times. When you become this other person on like at the end of this and you become this nature person, you get to communicate with nature and you get to engage with them and they have so much shit to say. Okay. Like I've told this you guys before, nature like tells you so many little secrets, so many little like things. They are just chatty little people. Okay. Like they love to talk. So look forward to that. It's not going to be like, you know, this life of isolation. You're just talking to different things. You're just not talking to people. Yeah. So look forward to that. Okay. The next post I made was your credentials and titles of human hierarchies have no bearing in the garden of equality. Yes, this is true, right? So I see people posting this a lot. Like, oh, I'm a doctor. I'm a, dentist. I'm an optometrist. I'm a lawyer. Like, nobody cares, okay? Like, that's a human hierarchy. That's a human hierarchy that really has no bearing in the garden of equality. And what does that mean? That means, like, essentially you're a human being, and when you die, what are you going to do? Take your degree with you? Nobody cares, okay? Like, and what people, like, you don't see me throwing it out there, okay? Like, I barely talk about, like, working in law or being a lawyer or anything like that. Like, you could see it, go through the page. I hardly talk about that kind of stuff because it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, what you do, and you'll see this, like, look in your own life and look at other professionals. And I've talked to other professionals, right? If you limit yourself to this human hierarchy, like, I'm a doctor, you limit your knowledge set because there will be so little room for you to grow and evolve. And you'll see some professionals, right, who are like, oh, I've experienced burnout and I want to change my career. And I'm like, well, what other skills do you have? What else can you do? And they're like, nothing. You mean you can't do anything? Like, you don't have any other skill set? You don't have any other gifts and talents? No, because they limit themselves, like, for example, to the medical field or to the legal field, that you can't do shit. Like, I don't have that problem, right? Like, I literally don't. And you can see that, again, this is where it's talking about, you can see that through my feed, right? I can create things. I can sell crafts. I teach. I can do fashion. I have the spiritual business. I don't rely. My skill set isn't limited to just law, is what I'm saying, right? There's different avenues that you can take. So if you're limiting yourself to your human hierarchy of, like, even like, I'm a teacher or I'm an engineer, like, you got to be able to do something else, because if you limit your skill set and you can't grow and evolve, then you are the same person. You will be the same person throughout your entire life. How scary is that? I meet people, like, since I came back to Toronto, and they're like doing the same thing. Like, they have not even grown or evolved at all. And I'm like, all these years have passed and I haven't seen you, and you're the exact same person doing the exact same shit. Like, there's no evolvement at all. Like, you have not grown at all. Like, that's sad. Okay, anyways, that's your problem, not a me problem. Okay, so the next post that I made was about Fashion Week. And I was talking about how I manifested this and how this dream and this vision never left. So yes, this dream and vision of working in fashion for me had started years ago. I think in my early 20s, I was in a hit reality TV show. And it had literally, I think it even started before the TV show. Yeah, it did. Because the TV show was a result of my obsessive shopping behavior, right? So it's like, all of this, I had loved this forever. And this had never, like, left my heart, right? And yes, I was doing other things. I remember even in law school, I was still working in fashion, right? Like, even though I was doing other things, this still manifested itself. And this is what I talked about in my last life. Like, it's like, can you look back and see how this has happened? And the answer is yes. I can look back and see how the dots connect that led me to being in this fashion. And did I manifest it? Yes, I did manifest it. This is what I wanted. I intentionally said, you know, I want to do this. I want to be in fashion. I want to be in the fashion community. I want to be involved. I want to go to fashion shows. I remember saying, like, it's so funny because now I need to rework this manifestation, because literally all I wanted was just to go to fashion shows, like fashion weeks. That's all I wanted in the beginning, right? And then now I'm like, oh shit, like I've done that. Like, what's next, you know? So again, yeah, I manifested it. So it can happen for you. Decide what you want and then literally start manifesting it. Okay, the next post is I had went to Trinidad. So if you guys don't know, my mother is from Trinidad. That's the country she was born in. And I had went there. This is not my first time being there. I have been there before in my 20s. And yeah, I've been there before. And the thing was that people are like, okay, did you think it was like weird being there? Like, how did you feel? Did you like it? And I was like, yeah, like the land remembered me. Like, I felt no type of way. Okay. Normally when people go to a country, they're like, you know, I had to adjust, or like, I didn't like this, or like, I didn't like that. And it wasn't like that for me. And this happens to different countries too, because you could have past lives in different countries. I've talked about how I've had a past life in Mexico. Even when I speak Spanish, I speak with a Mexican dialect. So again, I felt like no type of way being there. I was literally like, I can drive here. Like, I felt so comfortable. I loved it. I love the clean air. I could live there. Yeah, I didn't think it was a problem at all. And I said, yeah, the land remembers me. Like, literally, like, they were like, hi, welcome back. You know what I mean? So it was a really great experience, and I did get sick, but that was a whole other story. But essentially, the land will remember you, and you need to go and be in places where you are supported, and you will know. Okay. How are you guys doing? Do you have any questions? If you have questions and you're watching this after and you're not on the live, you can just DM me. See? DM me, I'll respond. Okay. The next post I made was talking about the original source wound. This is a lot. So the original source wound, okay, what did I say? I said the original source wound, the veil of separation that is a byproduct of coming into a body. Yes. Okay, so the original source wound is the veil of separation. What does that mean? It means this, again, what I was talking about before, this alignment, this misalignment with divine will. That is a veil of separation. The veil of separation is that you are separated from spirit. You are separated from your divine self. That is a byproduct. Follow me. That is a byproduct of you coming into a human body. Because you are human, and you go and live on earth, and you're in this 3D experience where you make choices that are imbalanced and live this life, it has led you out of alignment. That is the original source wound. Why is it called the original source wound? Because God made you into a body, into human form. So it's the original source wound. That's where the wounding starts, when your ass became human, okay? Did you have a choice in that? No. But what is the purpose of that? That goes back to the last live, where I was saying in the last live was to become human and go through all this bullshit so that you can become back into alignment. See how this is all full circle? See how this is why I say that alignment is non-linear? Because it's not linear at all. So again, that is the original source wound. Okay, so if you want to do some trauma work or some trauma healing, go back to the original source wound and deal with that. It's the original source wound is the veil of separation, a byproduct of you coming into your human body. Does it suck? Yes. Does it get better? Yes. Let's leave it at that. Okay. So that's the original source wound. That's like, I don't know. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to like kind of deal with. That's a lot for people to hear. I'm well aware of that. If you have questions, let me know. Okay. The next post I made was create a life you want. This is where I had gone to a fashion show in downtown Toronto and the theme was like Hunger Games. Yes, create a life you want. So what I see happening a lot is a lot of women, especially with women, okay? A lot of women don't create the life they want. They create the life that their parents have told them to create. They create a life that their partner, or they living a life, create a life that their partner has, or they mimic or mirror their partner. For example, if you have a man who is really into fitness and going to the gym and shit, that woman will become, okay, I'm into fitness. Or if your man's into religion, then you become like, oh, I'm going to be religious like him. Then that woman becomes into that religion. If your man's into politics, then she becomes into politics. Like, she has no idea who the hell she is, that she adopts the personalities of these men that she's with. And when all these men leave her, she's like, who am I? Right? She's trying to figure out where she fits. That's why I'm saying, you know, and you see this with mothers too, right? Who have like children and then they give up their life and I don't know, to raise their kids and shit. And they're just like, oh no, I've lost my spark and passion for life. It's like, did you create a life you wanted, or did you create a life that society told you that you should create, or that your parents told you that you should create? And I said this in the post, like a lot of women and a lot of men too, like they live their life from this like, oh my God, like, you know, I'm going to be 40 soon. I have to have my kids. I don't want to have kids in my 40s. Like, and then you go and you marry the wrong partner and then you're screwed. Or like, you know, you don't want to be single in your 30s, or like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say about it. It's absolutely crazy to me. Like, create a life that you want. Like, and you will know who these people are because go look on their Instagram feed, right? You'll see how their life has changed. Like, one minute you're into the gym, next minute you're into religion, next minute you're into politics, the next minute you don't know who the fuck you are. Like, I've been talking about, and let's use me as an example, I've been talking about the same shit on this Instagram since day one, okay? Go back down in the feed. It started in 2016, 17. And I'm talking about the same thing. Spirituality. It's the same concepts, right? It's fashion, work, law. It's like, I'm talking about the same things. Nothing's changed, right? I've created this life. I've chose to do these things. You don't see my man or in this pictures. You don't see like me adopting into his life or whatever man I'm with. Like, I'm not doing that shit. So again, you need an identity and a being of your own, and to create a life that you want to live, and stop living or adopting the personalities and the lives of these men and the people that you're with. And this is why I go back to saying, like, stop marrying so young, because I see a lot of these women who also marry so young, and men. You are marrying a person, follow me. You're marrying a person from the point that you are at. So if you're 20, okay, and you're just 25, 26, and you're like, oh, I gotta get married, you're marrying a person at the point that you're at. You're choosing someone from the point that you're at, which is really a fucked up thing to do, because that's essentially saying that you like your growth, who knows where your growth's going to happen. And I always go back and I tell people this, like, you're not the same person that you are in your 20s and you are in your 30s that you are in your 40s. At least I'm not. Each year I'm a completely different person. So again, it's like, how can you pinpoint that you're going to want to be with this person for the long time? You need to grow and develop and figure out, like, choose a point of person where you're at your highest self, not where the point that you're at. And that's where you run into problems, right? Where it's like, now I don't like my partner, or it's like, now, you know, I don't know. Okay. Like, just create the life you want and you'll find the right partner. Stop choosing people from where you're at. Choose people from where you're going and where you're going to be at. Okay, there's a few more. My next post was, liberation comes from the inside, never comes from the outside. That's true. Liberation and freedom comes from the inside. A lot of people look to external or outside sources for freedom or liberation. For example, politics, religion. Those were never going to lead you to liberation or freedom. We've seen that. It's written in history. Go pull up the books. You're never going to get it. It comes from the inside, the freedom and the liberation. It comes through humility and reconciliation and reconnection on the inside with the divine. That's how you get freedom. I just literally spilt all the tea. The tea that I'm drinking, just spilt it all on you. Okay? Like, that's the answer right there. That's how you get freedom and liberation. Stop looking to external factors that are outside of your control. You have all the control. It's inside of you. And it is through what I just told you. It's through humility, reconnection, and reconciliation with the inside and essentially the divine. Whew. Okay, next thing. I was talking about timeless space. The universe has timeless patience. Yes, I've talked about this so many times that you guys should probably get it by now. The universe does not, it's timeless, okay? It doesn't care about time. And I told you I really struggled with time. Sorry, like usually in my exams when I was in school, I was like always running out of time, and I was like, what the hell? Like I never have time to finish my exams. It was like a really big problem for me. And then, I started like learning about time, and I was like, okay, and the universe really has no time. Like they don't follow a clock. That's what I'm saying. Things aren't really linear. When you go, there's so much to tell you. Oh my God. But okay, like it's literally timeless. It's just like I don't know, trying to find the words to describe it. And you'll see like some spiritual teachers, like they struggle with explaining things to you because a lot of it is not like you're so limited by the human language. There aren't words to describe things. It's like you really need to experience things. So if you see me like trying to like think of a word, it's like because there is no word. It's like you literally have to go experience it. So did I experience this timeless space? Yes. There's no time. That's why when people are like, my manifestation hasn't happened yet, that's because the universe doesn't care, okay? They don't give a shit, like, what your time frame is, when you need it by, like, they don't care. They have all the time in the world. They could sit there and they will sit there and waste your time and make you, like, wait it out because they have endless patience. They're not in a rush. So why are you in a rush? Literally, the universe is not in a rush and does not care. It has endless patience and will wait and sit around forever and look at you and laugh at you and be like, what an idiot. They're looking at a clock and it's going to take like 500 years. You know what I mean? Like, the universe doesn't care. It's a timeless space. So you need to like really let go of this concept of time. I know this is hard for people because people are like, and again, this is usually hard for women, where women are like, I need to have a baby by this like age, or I need to get married. It's like, let go of the time frames. The time frames don't matter. And like, you'll see people like, look at me, right? Like, I look young as fuck. And like the time, my age, right? The age is what is going to dictate my time. I don't look my age at all. Like, I've talked about this so many times. Like, I get hit on by like 25-year-olds, like, and they're like, what? You're like over 35? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, so again, you need to move past this concept of time, because if you, and it will age you, if you keep getting stuck onto this time frame. Like, I look at people that are my age and I'm just like, you look like you're fucking half dead, right? And then I'm like, I look young as hell. Like, what happened to you that didn't happen to me, right? So again, you've got to let go of this concept of time. Okay, you really got to move past that. Okay, we have 2 more, then we're almost done. Okay, right on time. The next one, I said right on time. Okay, the next one is, seen is not where the magic is. It's not where freedom is. It's in the unseen. Listen. Yeah, this is true. What you see in the 3D world, when I'm looking this way, there's like a mirror. I'm not a mirror. There's a window. It's so funny that I said mirror. But I'm looking out the window. And I'm just looking at my 3D reality. And what you see in your 3D reality is not where the magic is, right? If I look at my 3D life and I'm like, yeah, it's so magical, can't really pinpoint anything that's super magical. Like, yes, okay, I mean, there's really great things that happen in instances of happiness and joy, like the fashion shows or whatever, right? But the real magic is in the unseen, and people can't understand that because they've never really experienced it. So you need to experience it from another lens, and that lens is in the unseen. Is there a world that exists that is completely unseen? Yes, there is. It is, I'm trying to explain this as carefully and as detailed and accurately as possible. Is there a world that is completely unseen? Yes. It is masked in the 3D world. So you cannot see it with your naked eye unless most likely you're spiritually awakened. You won't be able to see the other world. You might, like, people say, okay, like, I saw a UFO or a fairy or whatever. Yeah, you'll see like instances of it. Sometimes they unmask themselves in our world, and because, like I said before, they like to play games, and they might show up and pop up on you and be like, boo, right? But those are one-off instances where it probably won't repeat itself again. If you want to see this world continuously and have it blend into your everyday life, then you essentially need to become a more high vibrational conscious human being, and you will see it every day in your life. Do I see it every day? Yes, absolutely. I see it every day. And that's where the magic is. That's where the magic lies, in the unseen. It's actually really fun. It's like, is it? Okay, so, and it's tricky because is it like living in two different worlds? Yeah, 100%. It's like living in two different worlds, and the 3D world will bring you down. It will always have its clutches in you because you live in the 3D reality. And for a long time, I struggled with living in both worlds. Like, I just did not get it. Like, I could not blend the two. And I'll talk about this later on. If you guys want to know more about it, just let me know. But I really struggled with it, and I like could not understand how I was like this clearly psychic, human, spiritual person, and I was just like, why the fuck am I in this 3D world? Like, what am I supposed to be doing here, right? Like, I just could not I could not come to terms with it. So yeah, essentially it might be really hard, right? So again, that's where the unseen is. It's masked within the 3D reality. You need to look at it through a different lens. That's where the freedom is. It's in the unseen, and that's where the magic is. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is this quantum leap. And this brings us up to date on all the posts that I've made. Can you quantum leap? Yes, you can quantum leap 100%. Did I do this? Yes, I quantum leaped into the fashion world like 100%. Like, look through the feed, right? You'll just automatically see me start posting about it. And you're like, where did she come up with this from? Like, that's what I did, okay? Like, I just said it one day and I quantum leaped my ass into it. Like, and actually, like, it didn't really happen like that. I lie. Okay, so it's like, I didn't even know, okay? This is the thing. Like, sometimes when you're manifesting and you're quantum leaping, you won't even know. And I talked about this before on another live. Like, I didn't even know that, like, I had done it because it was so ingrained in my belief system and in, like, my vision and in my core that, like, when it happened, I was like, oh shit, like, I actually manifested this, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Your belief has to be solidified. Your vision has to be so clear, and your vision has to be so strong that there's no doubt in your mind this isn't going to happen for you. And that's what it was like for me. So when it actually did happen to me, I had like no idea, because I was so used to living in that reality in the unseen. Do you get it? That when it manifested in my 3D reality, I was like, wow, I didn't even notice, because I was already living in it, in my unseen reality, right? You could see instances of it in my 3D reality. For example, my extensive wardrobe, right? But like, it's the things that I wanted, like going to the shows and stuff, like that existed in the unseen first and then manifested it into my 3D reality. And I just jumped into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just crazy to me. Now I get invited to events all over the place. And I'm just like, who am I? You know what I mean? So it's crazy how this works, and it's crazy how it can align and work for you. Okay, that brings us up to date. We've answered all of them that I've written. If you want to do private mentorship, there's a link. Everything's a link in the bio, okay? Join our Sovereign Circus broadcast channel. There is 2 free readings in there. Why is people not seeing this? You can win a private free energy reading if you are in the broadcast channel. The link is in the bio. You'll see it there. Just DM me and be like, hey, I want a reading. And you're going to get a free reading. If nobody messages me this week, I'm going to pick people, okay? So yes, book your energy reading. Private mentorship is available. Just click the link in bio. You can DM me, you can email me, you can join us on Twitter, YouTube. We are live every Sunday. We're also on TikTok. And yeah. And let me tell you something about the energy readings. Okay, let's just add this little bit in. Don't book an energy reading if you can't handle the truth, or if you can't handle what I'm going to say to you. And I see this so many times, and I see it especially with women. And it usually happens with relationships and men, where I'm like, that man's not for you. And then, you know what, they get angry and they, you know, try to spend their time justifying why he is for them and proving me wrong. Listen, prove it all you want. I got time to kill. Like, I'll wait for you to prove it, because I know what I've said in the readings, and I know the accuracy of my skill set, and it will happen. It will play out. So if I say like somebody's not for you in that given time and moment, maybe you guys are together, but in the long run, it won't play out, right? So that's what happens when I say these things. And you know, if you want to have fun with it, let's play, right? If you want to try to prove me wrong, let's wait. Okay, I'm just saying. But a lot of women, when they do readings, that's what I'm saying. Don't book a reading if you're not prepared to hear anything, or if you're going to be in opposition to what I'm saying. You need to keep an open mind. A lot of women who book readings are emotional, and then they get angry when you tell them things that they don't want to hear. Why did you book a reading then? Why did you book a reading? Like, the reading is going to tell you things you don't want to hear, and it's going to tell you actions that you need to take that you probably don't want to do. I actually really enjoy reading for men, because men in my audience are pretty good. They're just like, oh shit, yeah, that's true. I did that. And then they're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. I'll do that now to get to where I need to be. Done. They just take action, right? Because they're in their masculine. But women, they're just so emotional. They're like, oh my God, you said like, he's not the one for me. I'm going to unfollow you. Unfollow, bitch. Like, I don't care. It's your loss, right? But I know that I am one of the best psychics around. I mean, like, you guys have said it, not me. So again, book a reading if you're ready and if you feel called to, and you can handle what I'm saying, because how I talk in this live is probably going to be 10 times worse about when it comes out in your reading, okay? Because it's not me talking, like, obviously to me here now, channeling to you, but in the readings, it is spirit who is literally talking to you, and I am just the mouthpiece or the third party that is translating. So the messages are not even like my messages to you, how they are in the lives. It is literally spirit who is going to be so dry and like rip you into pieces, okay? So make sure you can handle that. Like, the readings aren't going to be like all lovey-dovey, hi, you know, like, how are you? I love what you're doing in life. The readings are like, you fucking suck. You need to do this if you want to change your life, okay? Like, so don't play with these readings. Come prepared to take action and to listen wholeheartedly to what spirit has to say to you. Okay? Yay! Okay, bye. I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next week, Sunday at 2 p.m.